Now, I know Hamish texted you the day before the launch from the Ocean Gate mothership. What did he say?
He just said, getting ready to dive down to Titanic, exclamation point. He was very excited about it, depending on the weather, because they had been delayed for weather. It's been apparently well, it's the North Atlantic, so the weather's always bad there, I think. But he was excited about it. It was something that he really wanted to do. I would want to do it too. I would love to go down to visit Titanic, but it was something that, like you said, he was well aware of the dangers. He's an explorer. He and I did I'm wearing my One More Orbits shirt. We did a flight around the world, setting a world record for aviation. So he was certainly aware of that.
He had been even deeper in the ocean before. He went to the bottom of the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean. It's the deepest trench on Earth. So this trip was by no means, a record-setting trip for him. How careful was Hamish in assessing the risks about all of these trips that he would take?
Well, I can't speak for this trip. Actually, we didn't talk much about it. Before he went down to the bottom of the ocean, we talked a lot. I put him in touch with some Navy admirals and some former, deep sea folks that he talked with. Is this safe? How are they doing it? He did a lot of due diligence on that mission. Before we did One More Orbit, we spent a lot of time what-ifing the mission. If we lose an engine, where can we divert to? If we lose cabin pressure, where can we divert to? Flying over Antarctica was particularly challenging. So I've been on several missions with Hamish. We talked a lot before we went up on the Jeff Bezos rocket. There's a picture of us on the One More Orbit mission with his son. So yes, he's a smart man and very experienced explorer. But he probably didn't know all of this stuff is coming to light. I think the name Ocean Gate is interesting. It sounds like Watergate or Partygate or something like that. This is not the time to talk about that. We can litigate things later.
Yeah.
We need to focus on hope, and there's still hope. There's hope until we haven't gotten bad news in terms of finding a wreck, finding wreckage or debris. And so until and if and when hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it does, we need to focus. A couple guests ago, he spoke about carbon dioxide and other problems, and the issue is not only oxygen, it's also CO2 in space. Carbon dioxide is a huge issue. That's one of our biggest problems. So
yeah, there's been a lot of focus on the dwindling oxygen supply, and he's right and you're right. Just as deadly is the buildup of carbon dioxide, which people exhale when they breathe, building up in that tiny space with 5 people in there.
Absolutely. On my last space shuttle flight, we were on the space station, which is huge, and we all crammed into the space shuttle, which is a small area, about the size of that submarine, with 6 people, and instantly the CO2 level spiked, and we all got symptoms. When you breathe in too much CO2, your lips get tingly, your heart rate goes up, you start to sweat, you get a headache, you get confused, and everybody immediately started to get CO2 because there was all these people,
right,
and we had to add a CO2 scrubber. So the good news is about the temperature. Now, those poor folks are just freezing. It's almost literally freezing temperature. But the good news is your metabolic rate goes down. And so
maybe
the 96 hours, the 96 hours is just a number. They don't know how much oxygen's left. They don't know what the CO2 levels are. That, everybody has different metabolic rates. So there's definitely a big plus or minus on that number. So hopefully it's a plus.
Well, I'm sure probably you're believing that if anybody could survive this, it would be Hamish, right?
Well, it would be Hamish for sure. And the other, the French captain sounds very experienced.
Yeah.
The CEO of the company that built the sub is there. So they've got the right people there, but there's nothing they can do but wait but stay calm.
Wait and stay calm. Don't panic.
Try and keep their breathing down. But there's an armada of ships going out there. There's C-130s and P-3s and P-8s, right, dropping sonobuoys and using radar if they surface, to use radar to find them on the surface. I think if they can be rescued, they will, with this great team. Again, we're going to unpack what happened after the mission. But there's ROVs that are down there are very capable.
Colonel, thank you so much for being here with us tonight to talk a little bit about Hamish and what it's like to be in these extreme circumstances.